Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of our weekly coaching webinar. I'm really glad everybody could join us. So today we're going to be talking about the qualification formula. We're going to be basically talking about how to easily interview and qualify potential business credit prospects, even financing prospects. So you get the privilege and benefit of fancy PowerPoints today because I've known that we were going to do this for many weeks and had plenty of time to have this prepared. Today is the first of a 3-week series on basically how to sell business credit. The first is going to be the first stage of the process, which is the interview, talking to prospective people. The second is going to be the presentation, introducing you to some new presentation assets and things like that that we have to make it easier than ever to present the finance suite. And then the next week after, which will be 2 weeks from today, we'll be talking about closing. The whole hour is just going to be dedicated to closing. So all in all, we're going to be talking about interviewing, presenting, and closing, the 3 different aspects of how to sell the finance suite. Now, again, don't forget, we have a Premier Partner program where we do all the selling for you, where all of this is handled for you. As we wrap up today, I will go through and give you a refresher of how Premier Partner works. And there's been a lot of questions regarding commissions and some other specifics. I'll dive into those today too as we wrap up. But we're going to go pretty quick and pretty heavy today because we got a lot of really cool stuff to cover that I want to make sure that you know about. So first of all, the finance suite has a lot of things that are unique, and I get this question a lot. A lot of our partners ask, what makes this system so unique? And what makes it different? And a lot of people, I don't think, ask what makes it unique. I think a lot of you already know that. But the question I get is, hey, so-and-so asked me, or a customer asked me, what's the finance suite like compared to X? Well, the things you need to know is that there's a lot of things the finance suite does that it's one of a kind. There's no other system that's out there today that does it. And I'm not saying that to brag. As a matter of fact, I'd rather there be other systems out there that can help people, because in the end, our goal is just to make sure that entrepreneurs have access to capital. And realistically, having the only system that really gives them all these options means that there's fewer entrepreneurs who can do so. So some of the things that make the finance suite unique is it's the only system that combines business credit and financing. It's the only solution out there where we help them with both aspects of this equation. Now, why does this matter? It matters because more important than anything else, what our customers care about is getting money. They don't care about business credit in a lot of cases. They don't care about a loan or a credit line. What they care about is the easiest and fastest way to get money any way they can. And this is the only system that gives them the major access to capital by giving them access to both corporate credit and financing as well. Now, when I talk about financing, I'm basically just referring to loans and credit lines. So I like to personally split this up with our own language to that there's 2 different kinds of capital we're dealing with. We're dealing with business credit linked to the business EIN, not linked to the personal social. And we're doing financing, which has to do with credit lines and loans, which is completely separate really than business credit. So it's also the only system with report integration, the only system with integration where they can actually access their Dun & Bradstreet and Experian business credit reports. It's got more business credit building sources than any other platform. So we have a whole data team. This is all they do is get us vendors, get us revolving accounts. Just in the last, I don't know, 6 months, we've seen the vendor accounts that we have, for example, double. Now, this can, first of all, be deceptive, because I talk to a lot of people out there that, and I have a guy that has access to our old system that still says that they have 2,000 vendors. But the problem is when you go through those sources, the data isn't accurate. It's still our old system from 2000. Half of the vendors aren't even in business anymore, and most of them don't even report, et cetera, et cetera. So we have access to more actual, legitimate, verified business credit sources than anywhere else. And the quality of this data is better because we have a data team. This is all they do every day, all day, is call these sources to verify information. This becomes extremely important, especially when regulation and things like that changes. Underwriting guidelines for each source. Look, we make it very easy for everybody to know they can get credit because we list the underwriting guidelines for every source. What I always like to say in my presentations is this: look, we are obsessed with taking this process and taking the process of building business credit and simplifying it and making it as quick as possible for you. We take years of business credit building and we condense it down to only months. That's something you should learn very, very well and become familiar with. We take years of business credit building and we condense it to only months. How do we do it? The way I explain it, especially when I'm doing demo presentations, is there's 4 different ways we do it. One, we do it by showing you the underwriting guidelines for every source so you'll know you can get approved before you even apply. 2, we tier the sources to apply for and in order and steps to tell you which ones to go after in order. 3, we actually gray out the accounts that you can't qualify for. And 4, we actually come in and list on each page how many accounts you need to get approved. Now, I don't tell people that during an interview, but it's something, or during this part of the sales process. But again, you need to know what you're selling, because when you know how unique the system is, you're more passionate, more excited, and more able to pass these things on to the customer. So again, we're obsessed with taking years of business credit building to only months. One of the ways we do that is by listing underwriting guidelines so you'll know you can get approved before you even apply. Certified advisors, really, it's the only system with actual full-fledged advisors. Now, there are some other solutions out there that have basic support. You call them, you email them if you need help. The complaints, if you look at these companies, are that it takes them days or weeks to even get back to that customer that's requiring. This isn't customer service. This is coaching, meaning that we tested do it yourself, and the reason do it yourself didn't work is because people weren't doing it themselves. The coaches and the advisors are crucial. It's why we have them call the person 5 times the first 5 days, because what we've realized is that when they have certified advisors and coaches that help them through the process, then they are then more excited and more equipped to go through it. A lot of people get stuck because they don't know one simple answer. Our advisor gets on the phone, answers that question, and they quickly move on. So having advisors, having full service coaching is one of the biggest reasons why what we have is so successful. Every legitimate funding program through thousands of lenders. Actually, we've got over 1,000 lenders in the system now that we verified, and we deal with every legitimate funding program out there today. So when I'm talking to people about this and what we do, I said, look, the problem with getting money isn't that money isn't out there. It's that business owners don't know where to go to get it. And I even ask a lot of business owners, if you need money, where are you going to go right now? And most of them say their bank. And I say, look, your bank requires great credit, collateral, cash flow, tax returns, all these things. Now where are you going to go? Nobody knows. So what we do is we pull together over 1,000 lenders, every legitimate funding program to one place. So then that way, nobody needs to know that OnDeck only can help you if you have revenue, and Capwell can only help you if you have good credit. Their websites don't tell you that. You wouldn't know that. But again, by being able to come in and get all access to money in one place, we can ask you questions. We can develop a finance blueprint. We can then expose you to all the different sources you can qualify for in one place without only being able to get limited money in one. Why does this matter? 2 reasons. One, if you go to OnDeck and you have revenue, they can help you. But if you don't have revenue, they can't. So one of the reasons this helps is we get more approvals for our customers because we deal with every legitimate funding. If they don't have revenue and credit's their strength, we can go a different direction than OnDeck can when OnDeck couldn't be able to help that person. But if they have revenue and they're a good fit with OnDeck, we place them with OnDeck. Then we get better terms with OnDeck because we have a wholesale relationship with them. The second thing that this really helps people do is to actually get access to more money. So getting access to every legitimate funding program helps you get approved when you would typically get denied because you have more sources and more programs to get approved for. But it also helps to make sure that you get the most money because, again, you have more programs to qualify for. If you have good credit and revenue, we run you through OnDeck and we run you through an unsecured business financing source, and then you have double types of funding. So by having access to all these lenders and all these programs, it just helps us get access to more money for the customers. Lend more money based on strengths. Again, the problem with going in your bank is that you have to have cash flow credit collateral. A lot of our customers don't. This only requires one strength to get a loan. And that gives us the ability to have financial solutions for every scenario. I mean, every one. Because even if somebody can't get loans, they can still get business credit. And that's what you want to kind of get to when you're talking with somebody. If they need money, especially if they've been struggling to get money, we can help them when others can't, period. So it really helps because no matter what their scenario is, good or bad, we can help them get money. And again, they're getting certified finance officers to help them through the process. So when it comes to interviewing people, you need to know that the people you're going to talk to are really broken down into a few groups, okay? People who are ready to buy, people who are not quite ready yet, people who are curious about what you have, people who can be dragged and still won't buy, So you've got to qualify quickly to get to real prospects. You got to kick the rest of the curve, okay? People who can be dragged in, somebody recommended it, they don't believe in it, don't go through some uphill battle to defend yourself, okay? Boom, get out of it. I had this happen the other day with a podcast where the person that we pay to book podcast said, hey, this person has these concerns about you being a good guest. My response was, then pick another show. I don't need to justify. If that person cannot do research to see that I'm a good fit for their audience, then let's skip it. So again, what it really comes down to is it gives you the ability to know who can and who can't, or who will and probably who won't buy. And what it comes down to is the people that really are not going to buy are going to be the people who are dragged and still won't buy and curious. The people that are ready or not quite ready, those people can actually possibly work. But again, you really don't want to be people that can be dragged and still won't buy, or people that are just tire kickers per se. You're really looking for people who are ready or almost on the fence, ready to pull the trigger and make and get access to capital. So one of the things you need to know about an interview is you can't jump too quickly into a sale. The key to success is really listening. You need to listen way more than you talk. And if you're not good at this, you need to learn to be good at this. And one of the best ways that I learned to be really good at this was by realizing that people walk out of conversations where they get a chance to talk a lot about themselves, and they walk away and think, man, that was a really good conversation. I challenge you to think through this. Think about the next time you had a really good conversation with somebody. You're like, man, that was a great conversation. It's typically a great conversation because you're talking about topics you enjoy to talk about and a lot about yourself. Okay, so when I realized this, I'm like, wow, this really means the key to success in conversations is shutting up and listening, and then repeating back even sections of what people are saying so they know that you're listening to them. It really is the key. Okay, so you've got to get very good at listening to what people are saying and talking less. So an interview process is crucial because it helps you determine if the suite is a good fit for the customer. Bottom line, our product is not right for everybody. Okay, this is a Q&A with Megan. Chaz, this is not the Q&A with Megan. That was last week. So hopefully but you can easily access that in your back office now. And hopefully she ended up getting the webinar description and everything changed and the emails out for you. So it helps you determine if the suite is a good fit for the customer. And Chaz, like I said, that interview, the Q&A with Megan, was last week. So that's available in your weekly coaching webinar section of the partner resources. So back to the topic at hand. An interview process is crucial because it helps you determine if the suite's a good fit for the customer. Does it solve their problems, and is it something they actually need? Okay, I don't know that. You need to know that. Do they have the money to buy it? Okay, it helps you also build rapport, credibility. It gives you the intelligence you need to close the sale. It can easily be argued that the sale is closed in the interview. And the reason for that is that if you do the interview correctly, you're giving yourself all the ammunition you need to close the sale. For example, the interviews where you dig out the real pain, the real problem, the real struggle the entrepreneur has. If you really get to the root of their struggles, problems, and worries, then that's much easier to use that in the presentation and close to touch upon those things and how the finance suite can solve those issues. But you're not going to know that unless you come in and do a proper interview. Okay, it's why it's absolutely important. And it's interesting because I used to watch this show called Car Lot Rescue, and I've talked about it a lot, although there was only like 3 episodes and I loved it. I'm sorry it went away. And it was interesting because the guy would pull every salesman from the dealership in and say, sell me this van, sell me the van, sell me the van. And everybody would start selling the van. And then when he would teach them how to do it correctly, he says, you got to ask questions. Because if you're telling me about all the safety features and all I care about is how fast the thing goes, then you're way off the mark. But if you know up front that what I care about is speed, then you can hit on all the speed features of the vehicle, how fast it is, the horsepower, etc., and not talk about all the stuff I don't care about. Man, that makes a lot of sense. It's easier to sell a guy a car that wants speed when you know that than it is to sell a guy a car that wants safety and you're trying to talk about how many horsepower the car has. So again, it gives you the intelligence you need to actually close the sale. So there are 3 essentials to establish in every single interview process, and you got to do this in about less than 4 seconds. Now you've got to establish 3 things super quickly. You're sharp, you're smart, you're intelligent, you know what you're talking about. You're enthusiastic. You're passionate about your product. You're passionate about helping them. You're excited. They hear it in your voice. You guys know that I'm this way. As a matter of fact, it gets bad. The more I get excited about a topic, sometimes the faster I talk. And sometimes you can't even understand what I'm saying. I'm going so fast. So be passionate. Nobody's going to say I'm not passionate or enthusiastic, right? You're an expert. You know what you're talking about. This is what we want in life. We want experts. We want people that can help us along, okay? Interesting enough, I've been spending a lot of time reading about storytelling because I want to have better marketing messages. And what I've really come to realize is that really in life, we are living our own story. Like we are the hero and we run into problems and then we find these guides that help us overcome the problems. And then we have a small, success, and then like the big enemy comes in with something even worse, failure, and then we win the battle. Sometimes we lose the battle in the end. So that really is the story. When you're an expert, people want to know that you could step into their world as the guide in their story and that you can help them get what they want. If you do any research into the psychology of people, you realize that people care most about the people and how they can help them. That's what we truly underlying care about. What kind of positive impact can this person have in my life? They need to see that you're smart. They need to see you're passionate. They need to see you're an expert, sharp, enthusiastic, and expert. In doing this, you basically show that you can help them in their lives. You can help give them control of their lives and help them achieve their goals, right? Again, if you think about this in the line of storytelling, and every story is the same way, right? We have a hero. The hero always meets a guide. In almost every single movie you'll have, the hero always meets a guide, right? I mean, like I can only relate this to Disney movies because it's all I've watched in 9 years since I've had my kids, right? But I see Frozen, for example, right? So Anna goes on the mission to help Elsa and save everybody, and Kristoff is her guide. Just think about it. Every single movie you have a guide, right? Legally Blonde, the guide was the manicure, the person that she went to get all of her stuff done. Every single movie has a guide. The hero finds the guide. The guide helps them to overcome their obstacles, slay the dragon, and have massive success. You got to be the guide. You're the expert. You're the one that they've got to look at that can give them control of their lives and help them achieve their goal, help them slay the dragon, help them overcome the actual obstacle. So 2 more essentials to establish in the interview, okay? And these are really essential as well. You care about them and you're just like them, period. They have to feel like you have their interest genuinely at heart. And they've got to feel like you have some kind of relation that you can understand where they are or where they've been. So when it comes to caring about them, you and I have both been into presentations before where somebody immediately goes right off and starts talking about their product, features, and benefits and all these types of things, right? And they don't even ask questions. Then we've been in sales pitches before where the pitch starts with questions. Well, I like pitches that start with questions because when you start wanting to know more about me, first, I like to talk about myself. I'm human. We all do. And secondly, the thing is the more you know about me, the more you're going to know if my product's a good fit and cater what the product can do to my actual needs. So that shows you care about me by asking questions, that you're just like me. This doesn't mean I like football, you like football. You're an entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur. We immediately have something in common. We both understand the struggles of growing a business with no money. Okay. I've been there before. I've owned a business. You own businesses. It's easy to be just like them. It's easy to talk to your prospects and say, look, I've been there. I own a business. I've seen the struggles of getting money. I found this solution. It helped me. That's why I'm talking to you about it as well. Okay. You've got to build rapport during the interview. Now, remember, if you're using our Premier Partner Program where we're doing all the selling for you, this is what we're doing basically for you, but you should do some of these basics, as we'll talk about later, to make sure that you have some kind of respectability in their eyes to be able to even refer somebody to help them. Okay, but again, these are the things that are important, especially if you're going through all stages of the presentation. So you got to build rapport by showing that you care and that you're just like them. Rapport is built by recognizing that you're an expert. You can help them achieve their goals. So you got to develop instant rapport, both conscious and unconscious, and you'll do this more with tonality of the words. Look, the studies on this show that 80% of human conversation is tonality, or it's actually body language, but then it kind of converts to tonality when it's on the phone. So if you're selling on the phone, your tonality really becomes one of the best ways to build rapport, because again, they're listening to your tonality more than they're listening to anything else. So build rapport. What you must represent: certainty, clarity, conviction, courage, confidence. This is what people want. Just think about this. Think about it. When you buy things from people, especially expensive things, don't you want someone like this that's certain, that's clear on what things can do for them and how it can help you, that has conviction and believes in their product, that has courage, it's confident? This is the type of person that we all gravitate to as humans. We want to be around these people. These are the people that we prop up. These are the people that we follow. So this is where the person that you want to be. You want to come in, and again, if you've shown you're enthusiastic, if you've shown that you're sharp, if you've shown these things we talked about, then you can also relay these almost automatically, that you know what's going on and that you can help them. Okay, you want to be perceived instantly as an authority figure. Why? Because we all respond to authority figures, right? So I have to teach that out of my kids. I teach my kids that just because people have a robe as a priest, or just because they have a uniform as a police officer or a security person, does not mean that you should do whatever they say to do. Okay, because we live in a world where some of these people are like crazy, right? There was just a study today, like 300 people in like Pennsylvania was like molested by the churches, etc. So we got to be careful to make sure that people understand that authority doesn't we have to train it out of my kids, because we're trained that you respond to authority ever since we're like grow up as babies, right? As a police officer, you do what they say. Here's a teacher, you do what they say, no questions asked. So it is ingrained in us as humans to respect authority. So when people see you as an authority figure, well, then it's obviously much easier, and there's much more of a willingness to follow what you're actually asking them to do. So don't get too far off course talking about their interests. This is not sales, right? Sales isn't saying, what are you into? And then the person says football, and you're like, oh man, I love football. I love Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I got season tickets. I got Tampa Bay Buccaneers clothes, and stuff's all over my room. Who you think's going to get the best draft pick? It's not about that. That's not going to show me as being an authority. It's not going to show me as being able to help them meet their goals. It's almost a distraction, right? So maybe you're into that. I ain't. I'm into let's get to business. I want to do business with people that know what's going on. And I know what I'm talking about when I'm telling you that we've both been in situations where we clearly know we have the wrong person on the phone or in front of people, right? We know it. My wife and I have went through this, and she now does what I do. Hang up the phone. I don't care if you waited an hour. You have an idiot on the other end. They can't help you. Hang up and get somebody on the other end that knows what's going on. Okay, so again, that authority is very important, and you don't show that you're an expert authority by talking about your hobbies. So don't start talking more about yourself and your interest to build rapport. Rapport is built by them recognizing that you're an expert and you can help them achieve their goals. Remember, a real expert doesn't waste time talking trivial. If you think about this in your life, I can tell you from experience, this is how I roll, man. I want to go into your establishment. I want you to come up to me confidently and say, how can I help you? And me say, this is exactly what I want. And you say, no problem. Let me get you exactly what you want. I don't need this to be some long transaction with you asking me a million small talk questions. I want what I want. Could you help me? Yes, then get it for me. This is the way a lot of us think and are. So don't get caught in trivial small talk. It's not the way to build rapport. So back to tonality. Again, over 80% of communication through phone is really tonality, because there is no body language to pay attention to. So you got to pay attention to your tonality. You got to develop your own script where you can underline or bold words you should emphasize. Look, guys, we use scripts, and I'll tell you why. Our presentation isn't a script. Our interview and setup is. And here's why. I learned this from the credit repair business. You don't want to have to think about what you're going to say on that phone call. You want to be able to focus on what matters most. If 80% of your communication is tonality, then why the heck are you trying to think of the words to say every call? Write down the words to say, okay? Then when you have the words to say, then you can bold what needs to have an upbeat, and then you can underline what needs to have a downbeat. And then you can focus on your tonality. And after going through the script again and again and again and again, eventually it's just memorized at that point, okay? But it becomes very important, because if you don't have a script, you're obsessing with the words and not obsessing with tonality, which is the problem. So if you go into partner resources, into partner basic training, Or if you go into partner basic training in step 3, where we talk about presentations and where we talk about doing interviews, closing in that step, we actually have scripts that you can use. We even have a script there that you can use for that. So again, a script is the best way to pay attention to tonality. Upbeats on important words, it must capture the friend-to-friend tone. Hey, so for example, what an upbeat is I'll give you a simple example. Hey, it's Ty with Credit Suite. By saying Credit Suite on an upward tone, then what I'm saying is, don't you remember? Hey, don't you remember me? It's, hey, we're all friends here. Don't you know who I am? So when I'm saying, hey, it's Ty with Credit Suite, it means something completely different than, hey, it's Ty with Credit Suite or Ty with Credit Suite. So a lot of times when you test this yourself, it's insane. When you get somebody on the phone, hey, it's Ty with, you probably don't want to introduce yourself as Ty with Credit Suite, but let's say that's your name, your company. Just say, hey, it's Ty with Credit Suite. And you know what they'll often say? Who? What? But then do exactly the same thing with customers and say, hey, it's Ty with Credit Suite. Raise tonality, upbeat when you say that. And what it says, you remember who I am? You know who I am? There's all these assumptions in the tonality. So upbeats are very important because, again, it's more of a friend-to-friend tone. It reiterates important words. Pay attention to the power tonality, such as reasonable man. Hey, you got a minute? This is one of these things that we use all the time, and we use this and when we talk to a lot of people, our setters are trained to use this. Hey, you got a minute to talk? Got a minute? Everybody's got a minute, right? I'm reasonable, you're reasonable, everybody's got a minute to talk. So that's a reasonable man tone per se. Got a minute. Curiosity tone and mystery. If you recall, okay, now when you say to them, hey, if you recall last time we talked, it's almost important for them not to mentally go back and try to think about last time you talked, right? So there's tonality there that gets a recall, curiosity, tone of mystery, which is kind of a little bit like this. I do that a lot. I bring down my tones. I tell people when I start, even today, I had a main webinar. I said, look, let me tell you something lenders are not going to tell you. And here's why, because when I bring my voice down like this, then whether you want to or not, subconsciously, your brain goes, what just happened there? There was a complete change of tonality. And when I bring it down like this to tell them something it's secret or something lenders won't know, people lean in, they listen, they want to know. So tonality becomes very, very, very important for these reasons. Scarcity, again, like I said, it's kind of a whisper. Hey, look, something you need to know. Authority, where you're powerful. Empathetic, that you can understand, right? Have you ever talked to somebody where they tell you that they really are empathetic and you absolutely can hear in their voice that they don't give two craps? Okay, I've been there. And I've also been there where people say, man, I'm genuinely like, I am so sorry that happened. And I know they're genuine. So somebody that's faking it or somebody not. So all these tones you're using during the actual presentation, all of these are ones that can use you. Raise your voice at the end of a sentence to infer a micro agreement. Again, hey, it's Ty from Credit Suite. Okay, so again, that implies that you know what I'm saying. It's kind of a micro agreement. Hey, we're on the same page. We're on the same page. Okay, the same as the quiet tone, the whisper can help. So matching is essential too. Mirroring is essential. Pace and leading. So this is general neurolinguistic programming. This is general psychology here. What matching simply is matching means I'm matching your pace. I'm matching your tone. I'm matching what you're doing. Okay, and again, all the psychological studies show that whether we know it or not, subconsciously, we're doing all of this stuff anyways. So how I like to use matching, as you might imagine, is I talk kind of fast because this is the way my mind works. Like, trust me, it takes a lot of effort and energy I burn just trying to slow myself down consciously. So when I get on the phone with older people that are trying to buy something, like I did the first hundreds and hundreds of partners that I sold here at Credit Suite, man, a lot of times people don't have my speed. They don't have my tone. They don't have my pace. So it becomes essential to them essential to the transaction that I slow down a lot and match exactly what their pace is. And then as I'm able to match their pace, then I start to pick it up a little and I start to get into my normal rhythm and I start to get into my normal speed. And then what happens is in engaging with them, as I'm picking it up a little and picking it up a little, what I notice is they do the same thing. So I match them, they start matching me. Now, mirroring works more if you're physically face to face. They put an arm up, you put an arm up, etc. But again, the psychological studies show that we have a closer relationship to people that are matching or mirroring. They're talking the same tone that we are. They're using the same body language that we are. Again, all the studies show that this is how we recognize these people are part of our tribe and keep us safe and where we feel comfortable. The problem isn't that. The problem is the opposite. When I get the person on the phone that talks slow and I talk fast, you know what they think of me? They think I'm a shyster. And this comes down to 76,000 generations of hunter-gatherer, where we are trained to try to find the threat. This is the chimpanzee brain, which controls more than we probably want it to. That says, hey, potential threat, outlier, outsider, person is not jiving with me. Whereas people in our tribe match us, mirror us, we're one and the same. So again, it's subconscious, but it happens. Pacing and leading, that's what I just described with matching. So I'm matching them, I'm pacing them, then I'm picking up the pace and leading them to then follow my pace, okay? But again, matching has to do with tonality. It has to do with the speed of how fast you're talking, these type of things, whereas mirroring is more face-to-face. So grouping words in your script and when you present, because that's how you really talk, okay? With one of, okay? Well, that was a pretty bad example, okay? So what I'm saying is that I wouldn't do this in a script, but I don't want to write, hey, you are going to love this. I would say in real life, you're going to love this, right? So if I'm going to say in real life, you're going to love this, then why put on the script, you are going to love this? Write your script like you talk. Okay, so again, with one of, I don't know why I use that as an example, because I wouldn't put that on the script as one word, but I definitely watch out for abbreviations to make sure that the script reflects how I actually talk. You know how you do that? You read the script back to yourself as if it's a real conversation. It's one of the easiest ways to know how it's really going to sound. Okay, so questions to ask. So listen more than you talk. Find out the prospect's why. Okay, so gathering intelligence to close the sale. We've already talked about why this is so important, right? It's so important because this is what gives you the ammunition, what really they care about to even have what you need to be able to come in and close the sale. So we talked about, you got to listen more than you talk. You got to find out the prospect's why, and here's how you do it. It's 3 or 4 questions that basically have to do with and, okay? Or let me give you kind of a deeper rundown. If I come and say, hey, look, why are you looking for money to grow your business? And you say, well, look, I'm looking for money to advertise. Now, the person you're talking to genuinely believes that they are looking money to advertise. But now I'm going to ask why. And I'm going to do this 3 to 5 times. I can say and or why. Okay, in this case, I'm going to say why. Hey, Mr. Customer, what are you looking for money for? Well, I'm looking for money to advertise. So I want to do some marketing and advertising. Okay, that's cool. Why are you looking to do advertising and marketing? What's interesting is you already forced them into the first question that they probably don't even know their own answer to, because they're lying to themselves. They think they need the money for advertising. Well, I need to market and advertise because we need to grow the business. Like, we're staying stagnant. Okay, just gained a problem out of that. They're stagnant, they're not growing. Okay, which, by the way, 100% of the people we survey say they want to grow faster than they are. So that's probably reason that could happen. So now we already gained a piece of intelligence there. We're just not growing. And I need to advertise the market, put together a campaign to get the business growing. Okay, third why. Well, why? Why are you trying to grow the business? What's the ultimate goal here? Well, look, I'm trying, right now we do 300,000 in sales, and I'm trying to get us to $1 million in the next 2 years. Okay, why? Why are you trying to get to $1 million in the next 2 years? Well, I know that if I get to $1 million, I can hire these other 2 people, one that can take over sales, that one that can take over a lot of my roles. And then I know that, if that happens, I'll have more time to do other things. Okay, well, well, I want to do other things because I want to spend time with my family, and I want to be able to have time to be able to work on the business and not in the business. Now, if you really think about what we've done, by simply using the word why or and, we drilled down from the fact that they want advertising to what they really want to do is have more time to work on growing the business so they could spend more time with their family. That's what it really comes down to. Now, here's the problem. If you're just talking to them about the basic service thing, you got to get money to advertise, you got to get money to advertise, you got to get money to advertise, that doesn't pull an emotional cord. But if I say to them, look, we got to get you money as quickly as possible to advertise, because when you advertise, you grow the business, we get the business to $1 million in 2 years, and then you're taking that vacation you want. And that's what they really want. The problem is when they told you they want the money for advertising, they don't even know their own why. They're lying to themselves. And I've seen this in action for the mentor Dave Freeze that taught me this. I've never seen anything like it before. I sat in a mastermind. Tyson Franklin, my now good friend from Australia. I don't know if you know much about Australians, but these guys are pretty rough in a lot of cases. Okay. Tyson's sitting there. This actually Dave engages them. Tyson says, I want to do this. Dave says, why? After 5 whys, Tyson goes, he says, you know what? I just want to spend more time with my family. And then he absolutely starts bawling his eyes out to a group of people he'd never met before. And then he gets up and runs to the bathroom. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like that's one of the most powerful things I've ever seen, because the whole thing happened in real time. What happened in his mind was he, for the first time, really discovered what his why was. Less than a year later, Tyson sold his business for millions. He has the biggest exit of a chiropractor in the Australia overall in general. And I can go on to tell you the cool things that my buddy is doing now. But I can tell you that to see this happen in real time was unbelievable. The truth is, we all aren't honest with ourselves of what our why is. And the other truth is that if you can get to that emotional level with somebody to really know their why, when they have not really shared that with other people because you're helping them kind of figure it out, it is a very deep emotional connection. And when you get there, the trust is there, the credibility is there, the rapport is there, the authority, everything you need to make the sale is there. So use the word and, use the word why to get down to what the real reason for doing what they want to do really is, because we all have that real reason. And just to let you know, in a lot of cases, it boils down to being with family. And with men, it comes down to being able to provide for our family. That's what the stats show. The stats show that as men, entrepreneurs, that our biggest concern is supporting our family. So when you get to the why of it, then that's it. And just to let you know, hand raised, 100% me. After my mortgage company collapsed and I put our family in financial ruin as a result, and seeing the damage that did, I will fight till the end of the earth to make sure that my kids never see that and my wife never has to go through that again. I fight every day the good fight just to make sure that I can support my family. And statistics show that for men, that is the driver. I know a lot of you women are going to say, what about women? I'm sorry, I forget. But I do know that it's that, because when I heard that, I'm like, wow, I can relate, because that is me. Get to their why. Get to it by using the words, the questions why and the question and. So I'd ask questions, just a few questions, so I don't waste your time. Just a few questions so I can better serve you. Just a few quick questions so I can know exactly the type of financing and credit you can get now. These are entry ways into asking questions. I don't use segues anymore. We used to. Okay, now what we basically do is we start the conversation with, tell me a little bit more about your business. Or we start with this. How did you hear about us? And I'll tell you more about that later, but these are some intro segue questions you can use to get in. I don't ask for people for this. I just come right in with a statement of, tell me more about your business, or we come in with, how did you hear about us? Okay, our interview script. Here is our interview script. Now, again, part of this is in the script. I think it's step 4.3 of the finance suite. So you don't have to like take screenshots and rewrite this thing. Just go to like step 4.3 and you'll get our script that has this. I'll walk you through it and I'll explain why we do each part of it. And then we'll continue on with the actual PowerPoint. Hey, my name's Ty with Credit Suite. You scheduled a free consultation with us for this time. Are you available to talk now? Now remember, I'm bolding the upbeat words. Great. How did you hear about us and how long have you been following us? Here's why we're asking this question. How did you hear about us and how long have you been following us? One, we will not present to anybody that has not seen the finance suite and doesn't know about us. We just don't do it, because this is what we know for a fact. One, you ain't going to spend thousands of dollars with somebody you don't trust. So if you don't know about us and who we are and our credibility, you're not going to buy on this phone call. And two, you're not going to buy something you don't know and understand. So you have to see the finance suite, know who we are, or we will not present. Our salesman will say, well, look, let me get you some information. I'm going to send you an email with some information. We send them an email with a link to the finance suite demo video. and we send them a link to our credibility so they can see our credibility. Then we schedule a follow-up call to get back with them. We will not present to anybody that does not know who we are or has seen what we have to sell. Rule number one. That's why it's the first question. The script stops here. If you say, I just saw you on YouTube and called, I'm watching the video now, I just saw you on Facebook. If you don't have those two things, you don't know about us, and you haven't seen the product, then we immediately get off the phone and send you more information. The whole script stops. If you've given us answers here, hey, I've been following you guys for a while, we're in. Next question, you seen our webinar? Yeah, we're in. Person's already seen our full pitch. Okay, so awesome. So you probably know by now that we help business owners like you build credit for your EIN that's not linked to your SSN with no personal credit check, as well as get low rate business loans. Why do we do this? Because buyers are liars. If they said they know all these things about us, they still might not really know exactly what we do. So even when they do say that they know about us, we still come back in with a brief summary of what we do, so we make sure we're on the same page. So tell me a little bit about your business. This is where we get to their why. Tell me about your business. What's important? What do you like? This is how we get to know them a little bit more. Okay, what got you into this business? You don't have to ask that. That can go with so tell me a little bit about your business. But what got you into this business does really get to your why, doesn't it? It really does get to the why in a lot of cases. In my world, could you get to my why by knowing that I started the business to help other people, including myself, get credit without a personal guarantee because I'm not liable for everything in the business? So if the business fails, I don't have to be on the hook with my personal finances. That's my reason for starting the business. So in the end, couldn't you really know that my why is the financial protection of my family? Just by asking that one question, you could sometimes get to their why. Okay, wow, sounds interesting. What type of monthly revenue are you generating? Okay, so now we're getting into income qualifying questions, which I'll show you here in a minute. We're basically seeing, do they have the money to pay us? And could they get revenue financing? Let's figure that out. What are some of the biggest issues or problems you're dealing with now? This is one of the questions that is the best. This is where we dig out the pain. What pain are they experiencing? What problem are they having? What problem, if fixed, could result in huge success? Remember, now my whole mindset has changed because we're all living our own story. I'm the guide. You're the hero. What problem do you have, hero, that if you're facing, what animal are you fighting? What enemy do you have? What villain are you trying to fight? Is the villain the bank that won't give you the money? Is the villain the fact that you can't figure out the marketing and you need more money to get the business to a point where you can grow it? What's the villain? What's your problem? I'm your guide. I got to help you overcome the problem and get to victory. Can't do so if I don't know who the villain is. So I got to know what the biggest problem is that you face right now, why you're looking for money. Okay, because I can then present and I can say, hey, remember how you said you're looking for money for that advertising campaign so we can get you more time with your family? Well, here's how you can do this. You can use this card for this and this card for flyers and da-da-da-da-da. Okay, so how are things going to look for you once you get credit to grow? Once you get the money, once I help you, what's it going to look like for you? Brilliant question. Here's why it's brilliant. First of all, for them to answer it, they have to already visualize themselves having me help them solve the problem. Fantastic. Go ahead and put that in your memory bank. Let's go ahead and store in the memory for you to answer my question. You have to visualize yourself with me already having solved your problem to answer the question. So I'm already ahead now because you've already visualized me solving the problem, and you already can now feel the feeling of what it's going to be like to have that problem solved. Right after I took you down a negative, what's the biggest problem you have? Now I lift you up. What's it going to look like when we slay the villain? What's life look like then? Okay, sounds like you have a bright future ahead. We're just glad to be part of it because we know that most businesses fail due to lack of access to credit and capital. Why are we saying that? We're now making a statement. First, we want to break up a series of questions with a statement. And the statement says, look, that's awesome. I love what you're doing. Why? Because first of all, don't we all like that as business owners? We love a world where we can come in and we can basically say, I love what you're doing. That's awesome. Okay, and we're also acknowledging that most people fail because they can't get money. Look, your problem's going to get worse unless you solve it. Let me help you, basically. How much money have you set aside monthly to grow your business and make your dream a reality? Why are we asking? We are just trying to determine if they have the money to pay us. How's your personal and business credit quality now? Why are we asking? We want to see if they have personal credits, get unsecured financing, or have high limit credit cards they can use to pay us. Another qualification question. And we're also basically coming in here and we're saying we want them to get them to acknowledge that they don't have any business credit built yet. No worries, we'll help you build business credit from scratch regardless of personal credit quality. We already are expecting them to say one or both are bad or non-existent. What is exactly we can help you with? I love that. What do you want us to do? Let's get expectations down right from the beginning. What do you think we can do for you? And let me cross-check that against what we can actually do. Based on everything you just told me, it's a perfect fit for your business credit program. Let me talk to you a little bit more about how it works. Other questions? Obviously not a question. Okay, tell me about your business. Not a question, but an opener, right? We want them talking about their business. What's their plans? What's holding them back, okay? Most people like to talk about themselves. It talks about their business. It puts them in an upbeat tone, right? Some will jump at the opportunity to answer the question. Others, you got to ask more questions. What industry are you in? What exactly does your business do? Who is it that you help? Okay, but you don't usually have to ask these kind of questions because usually just getting them to talk about their business will work just fine. Bring on the pain. Your questions must be a good one to find out their pain points. Where are they suffering now? What would they like to change if they could? What struggles are you facing? Here's different ways to do that. But again, when I came into it, I just said, what's the biggest problems you're dealing with now? Like, what's the biggest problem you need solved? Okay, then relate their problem or pain to money. If you don't do it, if they don't do it themselves, a lot of times they will. They'll say, hey, look, my biggest pain point that I need the money for advertising. Well, they just listed their pain point as money. Perfect, done. My mission's solved. My job is done. But if they come in and say, my problem is I need to get advertised, okay, so you need to get the money to advertise to then be able to grow the business to $1 million to bring these people in to free up some time for you. Is that right? Yes. Now I've tied back their need of advertising back to money. And I also went and got down to their real why too with it as well. So get them to admit their lack of money is the root of the real problem. How long? How long you been stuck for? How long you been looking for money? How long has your business been open? This isn't a bad question. We don't use it, but it's not a bad idea to say, how long you been looking for money for? To know if you're the first one they've talked to or the last, because obviously, you know, when you're the last, they're desperate. Have they gotten financing before or tried? What did they like or dislike about the process? Okay, so what we're doing here is, did they get money before? Does that come out? You can ask that question. It's not on our script, but it's a good one. So if you tried to get money before, know the problems they're dealing with getting money. So then that way you can say, hey, remember how you said how hard it is for you to be able to get money? Well, here's how we solve that problem. This uncovers the emotional problems she might experience. What would you change? What would you change in your business situation now? What would you change? Our question is, what would your, again, we relate this back to the problem. We don't ask these questions. What we do is we simply say, hey, look, what's your biggest problem? Not what would you change in your business. That tells us what this answer is. Of all factors, what's most important to you? What's the most important thing that can help you? When it comes to your future, what's most important? What's ultimately trying to accomplish? So getting to what's most important to them is good. But again, we've now drilled this down to 3 to 5 whys. You know, what do you need money for? Why? When we ask why 3 to 5 times, like I taught, then what happens is we get to what's most important to them. What's your ultimate objective? Yeah, same thing. What do you want to accomplish, right? We already talked about that. And again, you understand objective, most important. What would you change? What we found was a way to wrap all of that into one simple question. You can do it however you want to. I'm giving you ammunition to build your own script. How we do it is, look, you know, what's most important to you? Instead of asking that, we just basically come in and say, why? You know, to get down to what the real why is. And that tells us the objective. What would your business look like if you received the cash injection? What would your business look like if your biggest problem was solved? How much could cash and credit help your business? Again, you saw our question on this. What would your business look like if that problem was solved? Simple as that. Important qualifying questions. Do you have any assets? We don't ask this question anymore, and here's why. Very few people did. If anybody had anything, most of them had revenue or credit, so we don't even ask this question anymore. But it's a good qualifying question to see if they can get financing now. Is your business generating cash flow now? And if so, how much? Okay, that will tell you basically 2 things. Can they qualify for revenue lending? Can they qualify for financing right away? That's going to change how you present, as you'll learn about next week. And the second thing is, do they have the money to pay you? If I got somebody with really bad credit and somebody that says that they've set aside no money to grow the business and their business has no money now, and I don't know if I said this or not, but they have bad credit, that's not going to be a good candidate. Their credit reflects that their limits on their credit cards are very small. Their business has no revenue. They have no money set aside to grow the business. So do I think they have $3,000 to pay me? No, of course they don't. I would not present to that person. I would not. What we would do is we would guide them to free information. I'm going to send you some free information on this. Now, and we tell them right off the bat, we got a business credit program that'll help you, but it's thousands of dollars. So I don't think based on what you said, it's a good fit for you. If you think it is a good fit, then let me know. We give them an out. We say, look, I mean, realistically, your credit sucks. So, you don't have the credit to be able to get what you need. You don't have the revenue coming in. You don't have money set aside. So there's no way you're going to do this. So this is why we're asking this question. And then we also might say, how's your personal credit? And what we do is, and you saw how we asked that question. Hey, what's the personal credit quality now? Just a guess. The tonality reflects, hey, just a guesstimate. That's what we say. Well, what's your personal credit like now? Just a guesstimate. Why are we saying just a guesstimate with an upbeat? No worries, no big deal. We don't care, no big deal. No big deal tone. I don't know. What's your credit like now? Just an estimate. No big deal. Because let me tell you something about credit. People are either going to say good or dude, awesome. Or they're going to be like, well, or, any kind of segue like that. I just get them off the hook. I say, look, don't even worry about it. Don't worry about it. We're going to talk more about business credibility. And I move on. They either have good credit or they don't. Okay. Can they afford it? Out of curiosity, what type of any bank balances do you have? I don't ask that question anymore. What we do now is we simply ask them how much money they've set aside to grow their business. It is a brilliant question. And here's why. How much money have you set aside to grow the business tells us how much money you have on hand. All we care about is do you have the money to pay us. If you tell me that you put aside $100 a month to grow the business, you don't have the money to pay us. We're going to give you the free information. We're going to send you a video that teaches you stuff instead. So again, that's all we're really looking for here. Can they afford it? Again, a future pace with results in advance. What will you do with the cash or credit injection? Again, this is future pacing. It puts them in the mindset of us already having helped them solve the problem. That's why we ask that question. Do you narrate the client's answer? Do not narrate the client's answers. Leave out any comments, including those that demonstrate your active listening, okay? You don't want the client to feel relaxed just yet. Let them talk himself into feeling a little uneasy, okay, when you talk about some of these things. So way I explained it, active listening, and what you got to do to make sure that they understand that you're listening is just repeat part of what they said. It's the easiest thing to do. So if I come to you and say, hey, so what are you looking to get money for? And I guess actually I just already went through this example. In advertising, we say the 5 whys. Then when I say, okay, so you're looking to get money to advertise so you could grow the business to 7 figures, to then have more personnel, to make it easy to focus on growing the overall business faster and then spend time with your family. Is that right? They're like, yeah, dude, you listened. And so that shows I'm really actively listening to what you're saying. Just even summarizing part of what's said. Look, I want to grow my business to advertise. Oh, okay, so advertising is important to you. That reflects that I just listened to his or her previous statement. So again, just repeating all or summarizing or some of what they last said reflects that you're actually listening. So again, it's how do you intro into the presentation? Well, based on everything you just told me, the Finance Suite is a perfect fit for you. Our segue is always the same if it is the perfect fit. If it's not the perfect fit, why is it not a perfect fit? They don't have money to pay us. And it really can't solve their problem, which is rare because money can solve almost everybody's problem in business. So it really comes down to they don't typically qualify with money. If they don't qualify with money, we tell them, we say, look, here's the deal. Based on everything you just told me, I do think what we have could be a perfect fit for you, but here's my concern. It's thousands of dollars. And I don't think you're in a position right now where that maybe makes sense. So if I'm wrong, then let me know and let me tell you more about this. But if I'm right, then are you okay with me sending some more free information to you that will teach you what you need to know about business credit? I'm giving them the out. I'm telling them, I'm saying, look, I don't think it's going to fit because I don't think I have the money to pay. But I want to give you something for free that's still going to provide value. I'm giving them an out. Now, they may say, oh, no, look, I've said that, but Grandpa's invested in my business. He's got plenty of money. That's not an issue. I want to see if you can help me. But most of the time, 9.5 out of 10 times, you giving them the out will let them just get out without them trying to go through this embarrassing process of blowing off your phone calls, et cetera, which is what's going to happen. Look, guys, you could have the best thing in the world, but you can't sell it to broke people that can't buy it. They either have the money to afford it or they don't. That's what it really comes down to. So again, That's really how you segue people into the actual presentation. So we've hit on a bunch of stuff today. I've shown you our script. I've shown you the logic of how we've got to our script, every single question, etc. I'm going to go back to that. I want to now at least touch upon Premier Partner as well, because for those of you that don't know, our Premier Partner program, basically it's just an option for you. You have it, you can use it, you can not use it, doesn't matter. It just helps you because we do all this for you. We do the interview, we do the presentation, we do the follow-up, we do the close, we use our sales funnel, we use our setters, we do the whole thing for you. The whole process is done, and you're basically getting paid 25% of whatever we sell. What it really comes down to is we basically are almost splitting profits with you. So 25% of what we sell goes to you, and 50% of funding goes to you, and we do the whole process for you. So if the interview becomes too much, the reason I'm introducing this here is because in a lot of cases, when our partners learn these 3 webinars, when they learn how to interview, they learn how to present, they learn how to close, they immediately get uneasy, shut down, and say this is too much. I'm telling you the right way. We found years to do this, but I don't want you to shut down. So I'm giving you another alternative, just saying, look, if in the beginning, as you're getting equipped and set up and comfortable to do this, don't forget, we can execute all 8 steps of this with us as part of Premier Partner, and we even handle the retention. So with Premier Partner, we're basically doing all the work for you. Okay, so it saves you a lot of time because you don't have to prospect, you don't have to learn how to present, you don't have to learn to interview, you don't have to learn to close, you don't have to learn to sell, you don't have to do any of that stuff. You just simply email the basic information, the first name, the email, the phone, the lead at creditsuite.com, and then all kinds of little magic like elves go to work behind the scene and like get the lead to a special box that our sales team responds to and engages with immediately. What our team is then going to do is call you and go, hey man, Bubba, what's up? I got this guy you just sent. Tell me the background. I'm getting ready to call him right now. So that's all you basically have to do, and you can still do it yourself at any time. So remember, this isn't replacing anything. We're just keep doing what we always do, adding more, giving you another option, another layer, another way to succeed. So if you don't get hung up in the fact that presenting requires a lot of knowledge and a lot of practice. Okay, you don't need to learn to present. You don't need to learn to you don't need to set up your funnel or hire extra staff or spend extra time. You don't need to set up websites or build trust online or get business credit reviews or train a sales team or build automation systems or master presenting or overcoming objections. It's really simple. We do it for you versus you doing it yourself. And the only reason that we came up with this was that we realized that our partners had a bunch of these barriers that were holding them back. They're like, oh, I don't have my email funnel set up and I'm not comfortable presenting yet. And I don't have my interview questions worked out. And I don't know, I'm scared to close. And so we said, how can we overcome every one of these objections with one option that can help you where it's basically done for you? And that's where we came up with this idea. The other problem that we ran into is this. What we realized was that our partners initially getting set up had a lot of cost before they made money. Some of them started getting setters. Some of them hired sales team, and we pay ours $2,500 base and $500 commission. They had to get CRM systems and websites and phone systems and pay merchant fees. And when you're not making a lot of sales, what we realized was that this was a hindrance to our partners. Our partners were spending thousands to set up their business and hundreds of dollars a month in commissions and et cetera on the sales. And when they're not making a lot of sales in the beginning, it became a little bit more difficult. So this eliminates expenses. So instead of having all this overhead, we absorb it. We just pay you all nothing but profit. So every money you make is profit because you don't have any of these expenses. And again, it's a nice segue as you're getting set up and becoming more comfortable with selling. And you can earn up to $1,500 per sale anyways. So if you really look at the math of selling business credit, if you're selling it for $2,500 and you're paying us $700, you're at $1,800. Then if you start to take into account some of these expenses, you quickly realize that you're making not a lot per sale unless you're doing a lot of sales. This gives you the ability to still make up to $1,500 per sale. How much can you make? It's very simple, guys. A lot of people had questions on this. It's 25% of whatever we sell it for, period. That's it. You make more than our own sales team does. Okay, we basically worked out the math and figured out what our profit was, and then we basically just figured out a percentage where we're splitting it with you. It's what it comes down to. We're doing the whole sales presentation, the follow-up, all this. You're getting the lead. We're doing the rest. So you're earning up to 1,500%. Where do I get the up to 1,500? If you look at our ultimate program, if they're coming in on ultimate, then you could earn up to $1,500, 25% of whatever they are actually buying it for. If they're coming in and they're getting the VIP program for $3,500, well, then that's what you're getting. It's 25% of that amount of money, which that would be like $900, something like that. Okay. But if we discount that $500 because they bought at a webinar, well, then it's 25% of whatever we collect. It's as simple as that. And if you're an executive member, you can still earn 50% funding commissions without doing any work, just with submitting the lead. So it's a perfect solution until you get lead volume, because it eliminates expenses to maximize profits. Look, we do not want to take anything away from you. What we want to do is be able to solve every problem you have. And when we look at not having time, not having the training, not having a sales team, these obstacles that our partners face, this at least gives you a solution where you can make money on business credit, maybe while you're segueing, while you're converting, while you're getting ready to do this on your own. That was what we really designed it to be able to help you with. And again, if you just kind of look at it this way, you don't have any expenses. So instead of selling it for $2,500, having an enrollment for $700, commission to your sales guy for $500, and only make it $1,300, you can make $1,500 with this, for example, and all the work is done for you, and you don't have any of the other expenses to pay for. Our established reputation becomes your credibility weapon, right? So now people can find us, and that helps you close the sale, not hurt you. Okay, our funnel builds trust and rapport for you, and you know how established our funnel is. Experienced setters, our setters are teeing up the sale for our sales team. Our sales team is closing the sale. So every issue you may have, we basically overcome. Leads converted to sales at a much higher percentage because it makes sense. We have an expert sales team that this is all they do. Prospects convert faster because our funnel and our sales process is designed to convert them faster. Customers keep paying longer because we have a retention campaign that we implement for you. Okay, and if you're part of it now, you see it. We're giving people plaques. We're giving people year-long subscriptions to Entrepreneur Magazine. We're giving them books. We're doing all of these things that are designed to retain them, that keeps them paying longer, but it all costs money, which we're absorbing. You make more money per sale, possibly because you don't have the expenses. More leads convert through time because of our funnel and our process, and it just basically really comes down to more money for you. So, that gives you an idea of Premier Partner, but again, this is just a resource to help you. You got this down. You got this down. Go at it. This week, next week, the next week, we're going to map out this process. And when we're done in step 4, we're going to put these videos so you understand exactly how to interview, exactly how to present, exactly how to close like our team does. You can learn this. You can do it. But I don't want there to be any barriers in the way. So that's what Premier Partner's for. Premier Partner's just simply there in case you have any barriers that can hold you back, where you don't have the time to train, you don't have the competence, you don't have a sales team, you're distracted, you're running a primary business, you have another job. It still gives you the ability to earn $750, $1,000, $1,200, $1,500 per sale without doing any of the work, just by sending a lead to lead@creditsuite.com. So you have a couple options. You're going to be able to do what I'm going to teach you this week and the next 2, or we can just help you, or at any time you can do either of the or. Problematic customers, let us handle them for you if you want. While you're getting trained, let us handle it where you can still make money. This way you can still make money while you're getting comfortable and getting time and everything you need to be successful. So I wanted to introduce Premier Partner, and I will the next 2 webinars as well, just because, again, I want to remind you that if this is overwhelming, we have a solution where you don't have to do it. Don't let the overwhelm be an excuse not to make money with business credit, because there's so much money to be made. This is another solution where you can still make great money without doing the work and avoid every barrier that you may face. So I want to make sure you have options to succeed however you want to. So that's it for me. Let me know if you guys have any questions. So again, a lot of things we covered here today. This is how you conduct a proper interview. Here's a bunch of sub questions you can ask on top of the other questions that are on our script. You might answer different questions other than we have in our script, but I showed you our script, told you how to access our script, so you could see why we ask every question. And if you've done it properly, then you've done a proper interview. Remember, if somebody doesn't know enough about you or the product, don't even do the rest of the interview questions. Stop, get them off the phone, and get them more information, okay? If they don't have the money to buy based on your questions, then don't present to them. Tell them that you think free information may be better because you think that there's a money concern, that they might not be able to afford it. They'll appreciate that, and you're giving them an out. And if they're wrong and they want what you have, and they do have money, they're hiding it from you, then they'll correct you and say yes. But that's the purpose of the interview script. Get the ammunition to close the sale. What is their why? What is their biggest fear? What does their life look like when that fear is actually solved? Build the trust, build the credibility, build the rapport, okay? Find out if it's a good fit for them or not. See if they have the money to even pay. They even have the information and the knowledge about you and your company to be able to buy. There's a lot of stuff that we're trying to do in that interview script to save you time. Is it worth presenting or not? That's what it comes down to. Is it worth presenting to that person or not? Because when you get into a presentation and close and follow up, you can spend considerable time on all that. Don't spend that time if you don't have a good prospect. The interview script is how you dig out whether you have a good prospect or not. It's as simple as that. So Dustin says, I have a list of 400 that I generated from lead magnets. Is it possible to turn these over to you to work? It's possible. The problem we're concerned with right now is what you described. To us, these are cold leads. They don't know you. I don't know. Maybe they do or not. So Dustin, do me a favor. Talk to whoever your rep is on our team. Lane, Eric, etc. Let us look at these at a case-by-case basis. Here's what I would suggest with those. We're figuring this out right now. We don't know is the answer. When we rolled out Premier Partner, we said, look, there's some problems we anticipate having. We think our partners are going to want to track the actual progress of the lead. So we put our development team on solving that task, and it's working now to produce a solution, knowing that that was a concern that you guys would have. This was not one that we had really thought about. This was not one that I'd accounted for, was people wanting to give us lists of cold leads to market. We have to maintain the integrity of our own email database. So we wouldn't take cold spam leads and just drop them in by hundreds typically. But what we can do, and what might be a better fit, Dustin, is we take your list and populate it into a call list, and then have our setters hit that call list to pull every single lead we can get into an actual presentation with our sales guys, or into a call that then will get them more emails. So we can have our setters say, look, Dustin referred you over. He said you're interested in business credit, and I wanted to know, here's our script. We execute our script. They are interested. We then start sending them emails, and we get them on the phone with our sales team. More than likely, Dustin, that's what we would probably consider doing, but we would need more information about these 400 to better tell you. If they are more familiar with you, they know who you are, they definitely have shown an interest, they're engaging with emails, then we may set up a way just to send the whole list one email and segue in to get them into our email sequence. There's a lot of options, but my suggestion is to start by talking more about who these 400 people are to the person that brought you in, and then let them know that we discussed this during the webinar. And they can even come to me. We'll talk a little bit more about ways to do that. But no, we wouldn't take a huge list like this and just start sending them emails. That's spamming. But what we will do is we can still reach out, make contact with them, find out who is interested, start sending them emails, and get them on the phone with our sales team. Probably better course of what would happen. And Dustin says, makes sense. Definitely slightly tricky with opt-in and brand confusion. It is. And for us, it's not even that. The problem is that, we can't jeopardize our own ability to send emails, because we're sending a bunch of emails to a bunch of people we don't know, and we don't know how they've been maintained. So if we have a list in which we now get, Dustin, you're not the only one doing this. We have people sending over 100 leads plus at a time. What we're now realizing is these need to go to a setter. The setter needs to set them up. Then we need to opt them in that way and get them in the sales process that way. That could mean that out of 400, only 20 or 40 become real leads, but at least we mined your 400 in a week and found out of the 400, actually 2-3 days, and out of the 400, you got 40 hot prospects, and then we hit those 40 hot and heavy. That's probably going to be in your best interest, and that's probably how we consider that. Okay, if you guys have any other questions, let me know. It's next week. We talk about how to present. You're going to want to be here. Here's why you're going to want to be here. You're going to want to be here because we have a bunch of new presentation assets that we just rolled out that you guys might not know how to use. Because I designed them for very specific purposes, and I don't know, I just didn't tell anybody what the purpose was. So I'm going to open up each one of these assets, talk through what it is, show you how we're using it, show you when you use these presentation resources. Presentations used to be you do the whole presentation. Now it's more, I'm going to teach you how to do it, but I'm also going to show you how to use resources to do it. We're going to get into all of that next week, and then the following week, we'll talk more about closing. No problem, Dustin. And Fred says, what do you recommend to have set up before getting started, like website, business cards, etc.? Go through our partner training. Our partner training in your back office will tell you that. It will tell you in stage, I think the last stage, the implementation step, or the step 6, it will tell you what you should implement and what you should have set up or not. So step 1, you need to complete partner basic training. It's absolute must. If you do that, Fred, it will tell you what you should set up to get up and running. To give you a short answer, you should at least have an email funnel set up or some way to send them emails and a website. That's it. It's good to have social channels set up, but the two necessities you should have is at least a website and your email funnel and the basic training you need to go through. It'll teach you what these things as well. And don't forget, Premier Partner can also help you make money while you're getting that stuff set up as well. I don't have any other questions. I'm going to wrap this up. If you have any other questions, reach out to us and let us know. support@creditsuite.com. Otherwise, I will see you all next week when we dive in and we talk a little bit more about how to actually present the finance suite to make sales. I look forward to seeing you all next week. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you next Tuesday at 3 o'clock Eastern. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.